play starting his freshman year. So freshman, sophomore, junior, and then up to his senior year, he auditioned for the play, and he was actually beat out by a freshman boy. So needless to say, he was crushed. He didn't get the leading role. They offered him a smaller role in the play, and he declined. He said he'd just work tech. So he was in charge of the spotlight. And then on dress rehearsal night, everyone's ready, places, the spotlight was supposed to go on, and it didn't. So the theater director radioed him and said, spotlight, pay attention. And the kid didn't respond, and the light didn't come on. And so the theater director went out and climbed up into the loft and found the kid hanging. He had hanged himself and had stood on a chair, thrown a rope over him, and kicked the chair out from under himself. So the play was canceled, and then on opening night, the students decided to come in anyway, and they took the chair and they went out in the desert, as Grand Junction teens have been known to do for forever, and had a bonfire with the chair and drank and told stories about their friend. But the weird thing is that exact chair reappears in this theater at random times and random places, especially on the nights when they're doing their dress rehearsals for a big play. It will show up up in the loft when no one has keys to the loft except the director. It'll show up in the hallway. It'll show up out in the lobby. One of our theater directors, since I've been here, he was here when I started here, he actually got locked in up there. He couldn't get down. He came down the ladder and the door was locked and wedged, and it gets really, really hot up there, by the way. And he just periodically kept trying it, was banging on the door, hoping someone would come looking for him. That's what it was. His wife came looking for him, and the chair was wedged underneath the doorknob, and he was locked in up there. From our neighbors across the street, will often call the cops, saying that there are people moving around in here, and they'll say a lot of times, but they're, it's like obviously theater people because they're in old costumes or whatever. So we just now affectionately call them the ghost audience, because then the cops will show up and they'll look and there's nobody around, nothing shows up on the camera, but people driving by or across the street will always call and say people are moving around. One evening we were here for a lock-in overnight, and I never really believed until I looked over from the other hall. I think the saddest of all of the stories, it involves a special needs kid who always had this red bouncy playground ball kind of thing. And he was just kind of known all over Grand Junction High School for the ball. And nice kid, everybody liked him, and he would just, everywhere he'd go, he was just always bouncing the ball between classes, always bouncing the ball. And a group of jocks just picked on him all the time when they were so one afternoon, on a Friday afternoon, they thought they were really funny, and the jocks took his ball and threw it down the stairs. They were setting up for a show, and so the door was open. So they threw his ball down the stairs, and he, of course, went after it. He never went anywhere without this ball, and then they slammed the door behind him and left. And it was a long weekend, and that was also the weekend of the first flood that happened at Grand Junction High School. The boy didn't make it home that afternoon, and parents called the school, and everyone was looking for him and whatever, and no one thought to look down here. And that weekend it flooded. No one got in the building until Tuesday because it was a long weekend. And when they got in, they found his body, and no one ever admitted to it. They never figured out what happened until one of the boys ended up in an asylum, had gone crazy, and finally admitted to it, and they were both finally held up down. And so a lot of the custodians don't like to come down, but the custodians and staff don't like to come down here. And they always say that they hear in this area, so either downstairs and then also upstairs, and we call it the Green Mile, that area upstairs that's that god-awful green. They'll hear the ball bouncing periodically, and several custodians over the years have found a red bouncy ball. And they say they've popped the ball and thrown it away, and yet the ball always reappears. That she could potentially be the ghost of the young girl who died in the library right below us, that could be the baby that comes up here and wanders through the house. So basically 3 different women who taught in this classroom went crazy. So one of them died, and 2 of them ended up in asylums. Sad thing is that later the room was also tested and had a very high concentrate of asbestos. So that one might actually have a scientific reasoning behind what happened, and why we have the ghosts on the upper U.
So they figured they wouldn't let any more teachers go crazy and close the classroom off.
So there's a whole classroom closed off. That is creepy.